In this program, we're going to take a look at different ways to go across an array and how to find a value that's in that. Because often one of the things that we need to do, say if it's an array or a database in a different piece of software, is we need to find out if something is in there, and if so, where is it? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a randomly generated array of values. So we'll go over loading the array. So we're going to include time.h, and we'll start with an srand time null, and then we're going to create our array of numbers. So it's just going to be simply int numbers, and we'll have space for 100 values here. When I'm doing an array, I commonly like to use the full out word numbers rather than the letter n, because I don't often like to see the name of the array taking up less space than the address that I'm trying to access. So that's why I use the word numbers entirely. And then we're going to have a number that we're going to be searching for. And we should be good with this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to load the array with random numbers. So for this, we're going to use a for loop for int I equals 0, while I is less than 100, I plus plus. And then every time we go through the loop, numbers index I is going to become a random rand modulus 100 plus 1. Sorry, let's go 1,000 plus 1. That'll make a little bit more variability in this. So our array is going to get loaded with random numbers from 1 to 1,000. Now we could display this, but that's going to be 100 lines of just a bunch of random numbers. So now imagine we created this, and then we wanted to find out, okay, now is a particular number, using search num, is a particular number going to be in there? So let's prompt the user. So I'll cout enter a number you wish to find. And we'll see in search num for this. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to check to see, is it in any position here? So I'm going to show you how to do this with both a for loop and a while loop. So for this, for the for loop, I often like to use a Boolean num found, we'll call it, and we'll initially set it to false. So when we have not found the number, num found is going to be false. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look through every single number in the array until we find it. So for int I equals 0. So we're using the exact same line here to traverse the array. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if numbers I is equal to search num. So if the number in the index that we're currently looking at is the same as the search num, then what we're going to do is we'll do two things. I'm going to have num found become true because we found it, and then I'm going to use the break statement to stop the for loop from running. So what's going to happen here is it will have realized that it found what it was looking for. So let's do if num found, then we're going to cout the number was found. Otherwise, we'll just see out the number was not found. And then we'll put an endl here. Okay, so this is how you would do it with a for loop, because we've been using for loops with arrays, but you can also use while loops for this kind of thing. So what we're going to do is do the same thing with a while loop. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare the number here for the index, because we're actually going to use this as part of the solution. So in this one, what we're going to do is we'll do a while loop, because, you know, we don't know how long it's going to run. Potentially we'll find it a little bit earlier. So we're going to keep going while numbers index I does not equal search num. And then we're also going to make sure that I is always less than 100. And then inside the while loop, the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to iterate I. So in this situation here, when we're done, if I ever gets to 100, that means we did not find the number anywhere in the loop. So if let's do if I is less than 100. So the loop stopped running before I could get to 100. So if I is less than 100, we're going to do our cout, the number was found. Otherwise, we're going to cout the fact that the number was not found. Okay. So in this, there's two different ways to traverse the array to check to see whether a number is not there. Now, we only use these methods for an unsorted array, so the values aren't in any particular order. We're just looking for its existence once. I'm going to run this. Let's see if 45 is here. So we should get the same result both times. I'll just try a couple more times. Okay, this time 45 was not found. So both of these do the exact same job on the exact same array, but they have a little bit of a different way of working. So sometimes you have to pick the right loop as the tool for what you want to accomplish.